everyone. Welcome. This is where I give my obligatory cell phone joke saying, we would love to hear cell phones ringing. Most people tell you to turn your phones off, but we love to hear cell phones ringing here. But Doug, no cell service here. Well, here we are tonight. We are expecting to spend about an hour. And let me just first, by congratulating all of you, this is unbelievable turnout for a municipal debate. And that might be your last clap, because that's one of my rules in this. So, here are the rules as agreed to by the candidates. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. We have tossed the coin, and Mr. Alves will go first. Each candidate will be given 90 seconds to respond to one of my questions, followed by a rebuttal, and then a rebuttal to the rebuttal. Our timekeeper tonight is Scott Farrell, who's the Assistant Director of Admissions at Naugatuck Valley Community College, and has donated his time here tonight. He did this the other night in Brookfield, and we thank you for your service. Not easy juggling cards, telling people, especially politicians, when to stop talking. So I would argue he has the hardest job tonight. And finally, we will end with each candidate having 2 minutes to speak. Now, for all of you at round tables, is there anyone here not at a round table? No. So, hold your applause or any other kind of reactions until the end of the debate, please. Sudden outbursts, disruptions, and interference with the process of this evening's debate will not be tolerated, and you will be asked to leave. We have security on premises. Okay, with that said, as I mentioned, Mr. Alves is first. He will give a 2-minute opening statement after I read very short bios of each of our candidates. Roberto Alves has lived in Danbury since he was 5 years old. He's a technical sales engineer at Cardis and met his wife Robin while attending Danbury High School, where they both graduated. When it was time to start their family, they chose to stay in Danbury. They knew that choosing to stay where they both grew up meant becoming more involved in the community. They got involved with local organizations in the PTO. Roberto has served on the city council. Dean Esposito grew up in Danbury, attended Danbury Public Schools, and graduated from Danbury High School in 1979. He was elected city councilman for 5 terms and has served as town clerk, director of consumer protection and sealer of weights, community services coordinator for the Boughton administration, and ultimately chief of staff that he continued under Mayor Joseph Cabo. Mr. Esposito is married to his wife Sharon of 30 years. They have 2 adult children, Chloe and Chase. Mr. Alves, 2 minutes.
First, I want to say thank you to the Chamber and the Chamber President, PJ Brunty, for hosting the only debate of this election once again. And thank you to my wife, Robin, our son, Julius, my mother, my sister and cousin who are here, my daughter. This is going to be a little bit too long for my daughter at her age, but I love you all, and thank you so much. I've lived in Danbury almost my entire life. I went to our public schools. I met my wife here. I work here. I'm raising my family here in our community where my kids go to Shelter Rock Elementary School. It's apparent to everyone that I speak with that Danbury is in desperate need of decisive, transparent, and moral leadership. It's time to have frank discussion about the serious challenges Danbury has in front of us and how we can all work together, all of us, to take them on. Only one person in front of you tonight raised your taxes and lied to you about it. Excuse me. Only one person has mismanaged your tax dollars to the tune of $36 million. Our schools are overcrowded, our roads are falling apart, and our mayor storms out of meetings with our community instead of facing our problems. Danbury has tremendous challenges ahead of us. The mayor's lack of leadership isn't cutting it. In order to move Danbury forward, we need to implement actual good money management, eliminate waste, and build fiscal responsibility into our culture from the ground up. But most of all, it's time for City Hall to be responsive to the needs of the people. Danbury can't afford to wait any longer for Dean to take action. I know Danbury. I know the people here. We're tough. We work hard. We expect a fair deal. I'm running for mayor to bring those values to City Hall and to deliver transparency, accountability, and collaboration to the people of our community who expect no less. With your support, we're going to put more police on our streets, we're going to fix our roads and schools, and we're going to stop wasting taxpayer dollars. That's what Danbury needs, not 2 more years of the same. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Carey, and I'd like to thank the Chamber for bringing us all here together tonight to be able to discuss the issues straight up, honestly, and bring the facts to the table. You know, my name is Dean Esposito, and I am the mayor of the city of Danbury. And I just want to let you know, Harry mentioned my bio. My wife is here tonight of 32 years. Thank you, honey. I have a daughter and a son, Chase and Chloe. But you know, what I really want to talk about is what you did mention, my record. You know, I started many years ago as a city councilman. And I got reelected numerous times to the city council. From there, I went to the town clerk's office. I was selected to fill that position. From there, I went to consumer protection. I was the manager of consumer protection for the city of Danbury. And then I was asked to be brought up to the mayor's office. And one of the finest mayors we've ever had here in the city of Danbury, Mark Boughton, selected me for that position. I worked up there in constituent services. And then I was asked to be the chief of staff of the city of Danbury to Mayor Mark Boughton. So for me, what is the word that we think of when I say that? Experience. Experience is everything in this job. I know that. I've been doing it for 2 years. The job is a job, and representing the people of this city is, in my heart, is what we have to do. We don't have to make claims about the other opponent. We make false statements about the other opponent, almost slanderous statements about the other opponent. For me, the job of the mayor of the city of Danbury was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I was born and raised here. I have family here. My goal is simple, to make this the best place you can live, work, and raise a family. So let's debate, my friend, tonight. And let's talk about what's not happening, because unfortunately, with your statements I heard tonight, you seem to be talking about Bridgeport, not Danbury.
Okay.
Thank you all.
As the Chamber of Commerce, it should come as no surprise that our first question tonight is economic development. As mayor, what attributes would you highlight or potentially improve upon when selling the city of Danbury as a great place to open or grow a business? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Harry. You know, that's a good question, because we've been doing that for 2 years now. We sell this downtown. We sell the perception of Danbury. Danbury is one of the 100 top cities in the country to live, work, and raise a family. That doesn't happen by accident. That comes with hard work, especially economically. Shay Nagershaft was brought on. Shay is an outstanding addition to our division as economic development. Our goals are simple: to keep Danbury moving forward. We offer facade grants to those downtown that need to enhance their property, and those are the property owners. But we work hand in hand with the businesses that are down there to help them move forward. We have small business assistance program. It was over $145,000 that we've already assisted small business with. So the goals are simple for me. I've been there 2 years. I know what we need to do, and I think I've proven to the people of this city that we're doing it and moving forward.
Mr. Alves.
Thank you. So we all just heard the mayor say what he's selling is the perception of Danbury, because the reality is very different than the perception that he's selling. The reality is we have a city that's been struggling. We have a city that has 50% of its residents falling under United Way's Alice report. That means they're asset limited, income constrained, but employed. So the reality is very different than your perception, Mr. Mayor, and we have to change that. We have to have honest conversations with ourselves. You talk about how you're there for the downtown businesses and you have these grants. You're not there for the downtown business owner who owns Hat City Ale House, who's been trying to meet with your office and move forward to do something that's gonna bring people downtown. You're there for the ribbon cuttings. You're there to break ground. I remember 2 years ago, before the election, you were there at the corner of Main Street at the old Feinstein's building, ready to break ground on a new project. I haven't seen that project lift off. And when I'm mayor, I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing holding the city back or the bank back from that project, because we don't know what's going on. I wanna see that built. But I hear time and time again from folks when they're going into City Hall, when they're going into that permit department, that that's just not getting things done, and you're not answering to them, you're not helping them. So again, Mr. Mayor, your perception of Danbury is very different than the reality we're all facing.
Mr. Esposito for the rebuttal.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. You know, here we go again. My opponent continues to put the bad mark on the city of Danbury. I think everyone in this room, no matter what party affiliation you are, know that we're getting the job done for the people of this city. To make things up, and you have one business downtown, Hat City Ale House. And I don't know if you people out there ever read the social media. This gentleman, I brought him into my office. I asked him, what do you need? And he told me, I don't accept what you're offering. So the reality is, he's not going to get what he needs because he's not accepting it from the state of Connecticut. My goals have always been focused on the city of Danbury. I'm born and raised here. I'm going to move the city forward here and make it the best place to possibly live for every citizen in our city.
Mr. Alves for the rebuttal.
I don't think it's
Please
just,
hold the applause.
it's not just one business, Mr. Mayor. If you walk down Main Street, you would see that there's empty storefronts left and right. There's a cafe that's been closed for years. There's a pizza shop right down from us. Your campaign headquarters that's dark every day that nobody is ever in. If you were there, you would see that there's nowhere down there in that area. There are some successful business owners doing some really good things. We want to help them and do more for them. You've been absent. If you were there, you would see that.
Okay, along that line, we're going to switch to commercial development. For decades, the city of Danbury has been an attractive place for commercial development and economic growth. From a commercial standpoint, how would you work to promote responsible growth to the tax rolls? Mr. Alves.
Thank you for that question. I think if we want to promote responsible growth, we also have to have responsible money management. It's irresponsible to sit here and lie to you about tax cuts. Yes, the mill rate went down, but simple math, taxes went up. Responsible development is working to make sure our roads are quality roads, to make sure the traffic is addressed. I am sure every single person in this room felt the pains of Danbury traffic coming to the Amber Room today. That is no secret to anybody. Responsible management of this city would be following through with some of the great ideas that are out there to start acting upon. One of them being the transportation-oriented development plan that we've had for years, where we can really develop the area around the train station, but let's not talk about it. Let's actually roll up our sleeves and do something about it. And when we talk about that train to New York, which is a good idea, I'm not saying that's not a good idea. It's a good idea if we have a feasible way to pay for it. Just imagine how much it's going to cost to lay intrastate tracks to get us down to New York. If the federal government wants to help, I'm all for it. But what we really should be doing is working with our state to speed up the transportation time from Danbury to Stamford, where many people are utilizing those lines. Let's work with New Milford and advocate for expanding our line from Danbury to New Milford, and then from New Milford over to Great Barrington, because those lines are there. And then grand list and not having impact on our traffic. That's one of the things we are going to do.
Mr. Esposito.
Thank you for bringing up the train, Mr. Roberto Alves. The reality is the train system is moving forward. You know, we were just granted a $1.5 million grant from our Congresswoman, Johanna Hayes. So our federal government believes in that program. You talk about the tracks, unfortunately, there goes inexperience again. The reality of the tracks are already there. Any Danburyan knows they run right alongside Mill Plain, right out to New York, right into the Brewster Center. So the reality of that is that there's not a big, huge, multi-billion-dollar investment. This is going to move the city of Danbury forward like at no other time. The reality, again, is that the downtown's going to prosper. The city of Danbury is going to prosper. Our economic situation will prosper because you can get on a train right down on White Street and drive directly to the city of Danbury. Not go to Stamford, not go to Norwalk and switch trains and move on that way. We're going to have an express line.
Rebuttal, please.
Thank you. I said the train's a good idea if it's affordable. When the plan is done and we find out it's affordable and it's not on our taxpayers' back, I'm all for it. The tracks do need to be replaced. They are ancient, pretty much. There are two different states, two different types of trains. We have to work on that, and that's a reality. I welcome the mayor to go. We can walk those tracks together if he would like. So again, I'm talking about advocating for more. You're putting all your chips in this one basket, but we have a train line that we can work on to Stanford, where people in Danbury are actually commuting to as well. So let's work on that. Let's advocate for that and grow business.
Mr. Mayor, with the rebuttal, please.
Thank you very much, Harry. You know, it's ironic you should say that too, because actually we did walk that track, Mr. Alves. We walked that track with major investors and major trained people that evaluated the track. The track was initially built for freight, and the freight lines that went over that were tons and tons that made it over that. So the indication that we got from those professionals was that line is built for forever. If you put commuter trains on that track, there's absolutely no problem. So there's no investment there.
Okay, focusing now specifically on downtown Danbury. Downtown Danbury seems like it is always one major development away from taking off. What is your vision? We're talking vision here for the future of downtown Danbury, Mayor Esposito.
Thank you, Harry. My vision is exactly what we've been doing for 2 years, to move downtown forward. You know, we have a couple of new projects that are down there. The old News Times project that brought in hundreds of people, residents. We have the Kennedy Flats project that moved forward. We have the train system that's going to bring people downtown. We work every day with those that are business owners down there that are actually currently there. And we entice others to come to Danbury, come downtown. But you know the old saying, if you build it, they will come. So we're working with the property owners down there, the ones that actually own the buildings, and giving them enhancements and small business loans if they choose to accept them. But again, downtown is the heartthrob of Danbury. As I said, I grew up here in this city. I knew what Danbury was like back in the day, an open-air mall where you'd go down and see your family and your friends and your neighbors. And that's our goal, to move forward and rebuild Danbury downtown to the best it can be. And it's with incentives. If we get some support from our state legislators here that can bring home the bacon for us and help us out with that, it would be an ideal situation. But we don't wait for that. We move forward the best we can, and we hopefully entice people to come downtown and build it back up.
Mr. Alves.
Thank you. We're talking about vision here, but I do have to make a comment. This is a room full of business people. This is a chamber, serious people. I think it's comical that at this debate, and the last debate, and every debate I've been a part of since 2016, and ones that I've watched before that, we're talking about downtown. Because this administration's vision hasn't been there. And when they talk about their perception of what a vision may be, they don't deliver on it. And it's why, it's a serious debate with serious business people, we have to keep asking the same question, because nothing is being done. We get Band-Aids, we get little dreams that are sold to us, but when push comes to shove, here we are again every 2 years talking about what we're going to do. What do I envision? Look around this room. Look at this mosaic of Danbury. I envision a place where all of you are downtown walking, where we have offices. My vision is that people are coming out of Naugatuck in their evening classes or their day classes, but we also have people stopping for a cup of coffee on their way to work downtown. Places that are painted enough so people get out and then go to somewhere on Main Street to have lunch. That we bring happy hour back when those law officers used to go to the old Mimi's. Everybody remembers here what downtown used to look like. And everybody's perception or picture of downtown was under the Democratic leadership. The image you see in your heads now is under Republican leadership. And the mayor likes to talk about his 2 years at the mayor's office, but he doesn't want to tell you about his 6 years he was there before as a leader. He talked about that 2 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. 6 years as a leader, absolutely right. And I'm proud of it. Mayor Boughton, I worked directly with Mayor Boughton, and this city's moved forward better than it ever had over the 19 years Mayor Boughton was here. And again, I'm proud to be able to say I was the chief of staff to Mayor Boughton. But the reality, again, my friend, is downtown is a particular place where we have to entice business to come. There's property owners there. The Main Street is owned by the state of Connecticut. We're working directly with the state of Connecticut to enhance the downtown, to make it more enticing.
Mr. Alves.
When I'm mayor, I'm going to be very excited to work with our state legislator, not bash them for everything. You want to work with them, but at the same breath, you always talk about how they're not delivering, and they deliver for Danbury over and over again. So I'm going to change that approach to get things started and get some state money rolling in. I've walked the downtown on the business walk with the governor and lieutenant governor. We talked about our plans with them, and Mr. Mayor, they're all bought in.
Okay, our next topic is residential and general housing development. Danbury is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Connecticut. What is your plan to address this trend as mayor? And what is your vision for responsible residential development specifically? Mr. Alves.
Thank you. We alluded to a little bit of this earlier on. We have to invest in transportation-oriented development because responsible growth means we can't clog our schools, we can't clog our streets. So we have to take a holistic approach to all our challenges. So we need to bring some of that indisposable income out of Stamford into Danbury, Connecticut, not just down lower Fairfield County. And by doing that, we can have that responsible growth. Young families in smaller apartments, so that way they're coming in, they don't have children affecting their school systems. Yes, I'm okay with working with developers, but we gotta negotiate with developers. Listen, I'm a business guy. I travel the whole country, I travel the whole globe. I'm in boardrooms with HR leaders across the world. Folks who are moving people, I hear what they're talking about. We can entice, we have the bones, we have what we need in Danbury, but we need leadership that's ready to drive that. So again, I really believe that if we can develop around that train station, we're gonna grow our grant list so that it doesn't affect our taxpayers. So we don't have to have these crazy tax hikes. And if the mayor wasn't losing lawsuits left and right to the tunes of $16 million, $5 million, and selling them out of court, maybe our taxes wouldn't have to go up as high as either, would it?
Mr. Esposito.
I'm glad you mentioned that, my friend. How pitiful it was of you to sue your own city as you're running for mayor, to sue the city that you live in, to give a black eye to the city that you're running to represent. That's it. The reality is we work every single day to bring housing into the city and managed housing. We got workforce housing. That means those young people that come here that are willing to work and do not have children to put into the system as of yet. We work side by side.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Scott.
Mr. Mayor, the only shame was that you didn't stop the town clerk from breaking the rules. As a former town clerk, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should have never had to go to court. We gave you the opportunity not to go to court. And then after we won, you appealed it. How much of the taxpayer dollars did that cost?
This is the only
If you follow the rules,
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor,
Alves.
if you follow the rules, that wouldn't have happened. But we need moral leadership. Your team violated the Constitution. I have 15, 30
I get
seconds.
to rebuttal that?
Still on? Okay.
Sorry, so much
15 seconds, let him speak.
Mr. Mayor, if you were the moral leader this city needs, we wouldn't have to go to court because we try to work with you outside of court. That's on you. Just like the gerrymandering expenses you paid for an attorney when we asked you not to violate the Constitution. And now once that you speak up on record, you try to politically gerrymander the city, you try to racially gerrymander the city, then you try to overpopulate in the 6th Ward. You violated the Constitution and never spoke up. That's shameful. That's a black mark on our
Harry,
city.
do I get to rebuttal that,
You do,
please?
right
Thank
now.
you, sir. What is that all about? I mean, you bring in this independent party that doesn't have anything to do with this debate. The reality is you crushed the independent line in the city of Danbury, and that's pitiful. The reality is you put the absentee ballot on hold, and that's pitiful. To give those people the option to be able to vote, seniors, military, and students that are outside the city. It's pitiful.
Okay, taking a breather to maybe will be a less contentious topic. That will be education and funding strategy.
Education, I like education. Thank you, Harry.
There's no denying the fact that education, and more specifically the funding for education, has been a hot button issue in this campaign. What would be your administration's approach to handling this important priority? And we begin with Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Harry. What would be my position in handling that? Exactly what I've been doing for 2 years. We're building a brand new high school location, a brand new middle school. We're enhancing the preschool stuff. That's what it's all about. I've heard more and more, and you mentioned that I was chief of staff to Mayor Boughton, and the reality is we knew that the expanding schools, the crowding, that we took initiative, we moved forward. We purchased a beautiful building that will encompass all this as far as this, the high school and the middle school. So to move forward is what we're focused on. We don't sit back and complain and throw lobs at people. We step up and do what we have to do to get this resolved. We bought a beautiful building. We've saved millions of dollars in that purchase, and we're going to move forward from there. We have a campus that will be built for the future of this city at where we are right now. At your former business location, I think it's right, Roberto? You used to work there.
Still there.
Cardis building is where we've developed the campus of the future for the citizens and the students of this city.
All right, well,
Mr. Alves with the response, please.
I know the building well. The office used to be there, but we have moved. I still work. I was at a work conference all last week. I can show you the pictures if you have a question on that, but you haven't worked in the private sector in a long time, so I guess it must be weird to you how that works.
I have a great job representing the people of the city.
Danbury schools are overcrowded. I think the Career Academy is a great start. It's a joint building with two schools. One of the things we should do, and I've actively been doing, is advocating for Henry Abbott Technical, the vocational technical school. I talked to the principal there. The principal says that 70% of the students at that school are from Danbury, that with 7 to 10 more classrooms, it's a minute and a half, I thought. That's not a minute and a half right now? That's my first comment. That's my first.
Keep going if you like,
Sorry.
sir. If you want to keep going, go ahead.
I just want to be fair to the rules.
That was his first.
I don't want to break the rules because then that brings lawsuits that are, against corrupt politicians. Henry Abbott Tech can fit about 250 more kids if they just get 7 to 10 more classrooms. So I promise to advocate for that because that's 70% of those kids will come from Danbury, so about 170 kids. Let's get those classrooms built. We'll work with the state legislature to get that done. That won't cost anybody anything. We likely need a new elementary school, and we definitely need a new middle school. But how we're going to do it is open with the community, because there's costs associated with that. And we're not going to hide behind those costs. We're going to put them in front of you so everybody has a say if those projects move forward. Now let's talk about waste. The mayor paid $20 million more for the Career Academy than it was appraised for twice. He's going to have a clever response to that, but then I'll come back to it. Because the reality is the timeline, how it worked, he paid $20 million more for that building than what it was appraised for.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, there you go again, my friend. Inaccurate information. Inaccurate information. I wish you would try to give the people accurate information if you want to run this city. The reality of that purchase was the asking price was $57 million. We negotiated with the seller. We got 4 appraisals. 2 were lower, 2 were right at the number. And anybody in this room that can't tell me that people have been paying asking price or above, stand up. Because the reality was, this was the future of Danbury. We paid $57 million for that piece of property. 265,000 square feet. 30 acres of land,
right? So,
1,800 parking spaces.
Okay.
It's
Mr.
built for
Alves
the
on
future.
No. Listen, the reality is this. You had 2 appraisers get the work done. And you only went back to the other 2 when you didn't get the number you needed to submit to the state. And you hid it from the people for a year. And you went begging to the state legislator, asking them not to say anything so you can we'll give you the credit when you get the money. They get $10 million and then you say it's not enough. That's not right, Mr. Mayor. You did pay $20 million more for the property. And when you talk about buying things at asking price, that's residential. Commercial is down. That is a commercial building. Commercial properties are down. You didn't even try to negotiate. Why is that?
Okay, moving to public
Do I get to
safety.
rebuttal that?
No.
Of course not.
No, that's not fair. I'm just going back.
I'm not talking about you. Thank you.
Public safety, please. And more specifically in this room. Public safety is always top of mind for voters. How would you address crime in Danbury, Mr. Alves?
Let me start by saying, I'm going to answer this, but the mayor's talking about people slandering candidates, lying about candidates. Let's talk about your lies about me, Mr. Mayor. Going around telling people I'm going to defund the police, knowing I have family not only in the Danbury Police Department, but in police departments all over the world. I have been active asking for more police in Danbury. Did so in my time at the council. That has never been a question of where I stand. But you have lied time and time again to me, to the residents. So you know what I want, Mr. Mayor? I want an apology out of you for lying, because I have never said I'm going to defund the police. Right now, I will tell you I want more police officers. My mother, my son, my daughter are here. All hear your lies. Why don't you apologize to them with your time? You know what? I'll yield my time.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And to your mother, your son, and your wife, I commend you for putting up with what you have to do every single day. The reality of that is, I have a family. This reminds me of the independent party line when I got nominated by them. Okay?
I got nominated by Republicans.
Okay. The reality is I have family that are police officers as well. I've been in politics for a long time, sir. And the reality again is, if you take a nomination and you use their platform, defund police, you accept it. And that's what you have to take. Accept the fact that you accepted their nomination, the Working Families line, and anybody in the room can look it up, what they stand for. And then with the schools themselves, are you looking to defund the schools as well? That's my question to you.
It's
Mr. Alves.
incredible to me. Listen, I don't even know where to start with this, but I took a work and family endorsement. I answered a question on record, on paper. I'll give it to you, and I offered it last election too, where I said I am no way, shape, in any way associated or will ever support defund the police.
And you don't
I want more
endorse.
money for our police. And now in the independent party, that sham of a Republican Party, where you signed their endorsement form on the night of the Republican nomination a month before they had it. Because it was all Republicans in that room. We had independents in that room, and I gladly accepted the independents nomination. You accepted
Mr.
the
Mayor, for
Republicans.
the rebuttal, please.
Thank you, sir. There you go again, independent line. The reality was, I got endorsed by the independent line, the official independent line, and you didn't. And you took your ball, went home, got your lawyer friends to address it. So the reality there is, I feel that the independent line was given to me as an endorsement. And again, you crushed that line. You put the absentees on hold, and you're holding up good people that have an opportunity to vote on absentees, firemen, or military, teachers, everybody else that's out of state, they need to vote. Why don't you release it?
Okay, our next question. Let's all take a little breath here, because our next topic is public health. Everyone? It's hard to believe it's only been 5 months since the official end of the federal COVID-19 public health emergency declaration. That being said, how would your administration focus on the importance of being prepared to protect the overall health and safety of our community, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Harry. You know, that's one of the biggest concerns we got today, right? COVID. COVID hit us hard. And it was a reality for every single person in this room and through this country. But we have an outstanding health department. We focus on the health department. Cara Prunty runs our health department. She moved into that position right in the midst of COVID. But she took the ball and ran with it and gave us all this, a solid feel that we were going to be safe. So the reality of investing in our health department is key. And that gives us the ability to know where we're going, where we're at, and where we're going to be. So for me, as the mayor of the city of Danbury, I work closely with the health department to ensure the safety of the people of this city. And we work closely with the hospital. Again, the reality is that it's a working relationship to help prevent what may be coming in the future, but also prevent what we had faced in the past. And I'm very proud of the health department that we have.
Mr. Alves.
Thank you very much. I think I want to just take a moment to reflect all the lives lost. I think everybody here knows somebody. We were all impacted by the COVID tragedy. I do think the city handled it well. I think our health director handled it extremely well. She got thrown into a role. A lot of pressure was put on her. And the city did come together to work, and the whole state did. So we want to thank everybody from that, and how happy are we that we have moved on from that. In tragedy, and unfortunately, but in tragedy, there's opportunity. In tragedy, we learn. In tragedy, we find more efficient ways to do things. So we are, as a community, better prepared if anything were to happen again. We're going to learn from each other. We work in collaborative spaces. We're going to bring in subject matter experts, because that's what we do in business. We don't have all the right answers to everything, but we work with the leaders who do to come, and then we learn what did go wrong through certain communities, what did go right, who operated what way, how do we want to move forward. We bring in those people collectively to go forward. But when we're talking about public health, there's a lot of things we have to address that I don't hear being addressed. Our overcrowded schools, those students, guidance counselors, mental health. When you have guidance counselors that are overworked by having 350 students, when the national average says you shouldn't have more than 250, because this Republican administration they're the ones that funded the school systems, because they don't give them the resources they need. We can't address mental health here. When we have a mayor that shuts down public hearing, when we have a public hearing and he votes no, when we want to build a homeless shelter, and I'm not saying for or against, we can't even have that community conversation on folks being affected by mental health.
Mr.
How
Mayor,
can we
with
move
the
forward
rebuttal.
without
Thank you
having
very
that
much,
conversation?
Harry. I appreciate that. You know, we are at the point of education. And you continually accuse me of underfunding education. You know, I have the request from the education, the superintendent of the city of Danbury, the Board of Ed of the city of Danbury, $150 million to move the school system forward, to provide a quality education to our kids. I brought that to our city council members, and they voted unanimously with me to support the funding of education fully. $150 million.
Mr. Alves with the rebuttal. Please hold your applause.
Not everybody votes the right, so there are some wrong votes there, is all I can say. If we go to that timeline, you were at the meeting with me in July when we saw a $4 million hole in the education budget. You could have rectified that, you didn't. You heard us speak at the city council on record that budget had a gap. After you passed the budget that you pretty much told them that that's what they were gonna get, they had no other choice. 2 days later, they cut middle school programs. A couple days later, 9 teachers get cut. And then at the last Board of Education meeting, they're coming to the city asking for $3 million in emergency funding. Maybe you haven't done math in a while, but that's not fully
Harry.
Okay, moving along to our next question.
Do I have a
Number
rebuttal
8.
on that, Harry?
You do not.
Okay.
You do not. Danbury continues to be one of, if not the most diverse city in the state of Connecticut. As mayor, please describe policies and strategies that your administration would take to further the inclusion of the diverse community in the city's business, civic, and political process. A little bit of an ending that's different there. Mr. Alves, you're up first.
Thank you. Our diversity is our strength. We have to highlight that. We have to highlight that at our department heads. We have to highlight that on our ballot. We have to highlight that on our ticket. That's why I'm proud of the ticket we have. That's why our at-large ticket is a diverse ticket that is inclusive and diverse. I challenge the mayor to say that about his at-large ticket, because he can't. And we're going to build on that. Again, let's talk about what boardrooms look like. Let's talk about how important DE&I initiatives are across the country, still to this day. Communities and businesses need to work together. There needs to be a synergy there. When a business is looking to move, they're not looking just at education. They are looking at demographic breakdowns. And they're going to look at their city leaders to make sure that they're putting their money where their mouth is. So me, being somebody who comes from a diverse background, who grew up not speaking English and had to work hard to be here, I know how to speak to that community. I know how to encourage those business owners to really step up and invest, and I'm going to work with them every step of the way. But what this community really needs is the city to actually invest in the thing that gives you the most ROI, proven time and time again, and that is education. We really need to address our challenges at schools. We need to build more schools. We don't need just Band-Aids approaches. So when we do that, we will attract more businesses. Our diversity is our strength. That's what I'm going to highlight, and I'll do that in multiple languages if you need me to.
Mr. Mayor with the response, please.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Again, there you go. Build more schools. As we speak tonight, we're building a new high school, a new middle school, a new preschool. How many times do I have to tell you, unfortunately, that you are so inexperienced in local government that you don't see what's really happening here in the city of Danbury. The reality is we're moving forward every single day in this city. We do what we have to do to make the city the best possible place to live, work, and raise a family.
Mr. Mayor, I see very well what happens in our schools. I have children in our schools. I talk to our teachers. I am the only candidate up here tonight that was willing to go and talk to a group of our teachers to talk about issues. Dean decided to send them a letter the day of. He couldn't even give them the courtesy to talk to them about their issues. All you have to do is look at our schools to know you're not addressing their problems fast enough. Yes, we're building a school, but what about the science labs that don't have any working water? What about the water leakage everywhere at Danbury High School? The same problems at Rogers Park. We need more schools, Dean, and if you were here the last 15 years, you would have known that.
I have a
Mr.
rebuttal,
Mayor,
right,
with the
Gary?
rebuttal. Yes, you do.
Yes, thank you. There you talk about plugged up sink. You talked about light bulbs on a pole. The reality is we went to the voters of the city of Danbury for $208 million. Number one, to purchase the property that we purchased and to enhance that for the future of this city. And the other monies are there to enhance and repair the city of Danbury's existing high school, existing middle schools. You know, it can't happen in one day, Roberto. You have to budget. It's good money management that we're providing here in the city of Danbury. And we're providing it, number one, with the Board of Ed and the educational system.
Okay, moving along here. I'm going to be conscious of 7 o'clock as our stop time. We are going to switch briefly to education, because we haven't really talked about that.
Yeah. No, we did.
For years, there's been an overcrowding issue in Danbury High School. The city has been working on the Career Academy model and will be opening a second high school in the fall. There's been the battle over the Danbury Charter School. Where do each of you stand on the Career Academy and the Charter School? And would they alone address the overcrowding issue? And Mr. Alex, you're up first. Is that me? PJ? Where's PJ on this one? Mr. Alice is first.
Okay. Thank you. No, I don't think they resolve all our challenges in Danbury. I think I am.
And this is the final question.
Okay, thank you. I do not believe that this addresses all our challenges. I think the Career Academy is a good start. Again, we see it when the Career Academy opens, just like every other project, they're gonna be bursting at the seams. We're gonna need more buildings. What I do think we do need to focus are on the models that are successful in Danbury already. We need to advocate for Habitat. We need to advocate for our public schools, build more public schools. We need to work on things that are going to be under our local control. I understand the charter school is a hotly contested debate topic in the state legislature. The reality is it's not up to the city to decide if that's going to come in or not. I want to work on the plans that are already here and the programs we can get going really fast. But the other thing we really need when we talk about schools is honesty. The mayor is sitting here and saying, there I go again, he talks about lying. But let's talk about integrity. Have the integrity to talk about the truth. Have the integrity to say that the reality of your budget was what I just said, because that's what happened. We cut middle school programs. We talked about mental health, but then you don't have anywhere for some of our neediest students to go to in the summer months. You don't give the Board of Education what they need. When you're at the meeting, when you see that gap, and then we don't have enough guidance counselors, our teachers are overworked, our teachers are leaving Danbury for other school systems where they feel appreciated. We can't afford that as a society. As business leaders, your businesses cannot afford that. There is going to be a school flight out here soon because the services keep dropping. We need help.
Mr. Mayor, with the
Thank you,
response, please.
You know, it's unbelievable that you were a former councilman. I know you served one term and didn't say much on that, but the reality is that, you know, the city of Danbury moves forward every single day. The school system we're providing for the system. You continually blame me for what is happening at the school side. And reality, again, is the superintendent makes those decisions. The Board of Ed makes those decisions. We allocate funds to them, what we hope and trust that what they need to provide the services. And they do an outstanding job. But unfortunately for them, the demographics didn't meet the number, right? Growth is here. The city schools are being filled every single day. So as far as the charter school, we have a philanthropist out there that's willing to donate $50 million to this system. $50 million. We're the only city in Connecticut that doesn't have a charter school. In the past, we had, just this past session with the state legislator, there were 3 different schools that were asking for money, and every one of them got it except the city of Danbury. And I call out our state representative and our state senator to make the moves they need to do to get what we need here in the city of Danbury. The people have spoken. We need a charter school, and we need to move forward.
Mr. Alice, with the rebuttal.
I hope one day that the mayor will actually admit that he's made a mistake. It's what we teach our kids, right, to be accountable. If you live in this room, we have business owners that aren't from Danbury. If you live in Brookfield, if you live in Newtown, if you live in Bethel, if you live in Ridgefield, if you live in New Milford, I can keep going. None of your school districts are asking for a charter school. Why is that? Because those administrations haven't failed your students or your residents. The charter school issues only come up when there's a challenge, Mr. Mayor. You didn't call for a charter school when you were living in Brookfield.
Okay, yes, you do. This is the final response to the question. Mr. Mayor with the rebuttal.
So the rebuttal is, you gotta be kidding me, man. The reality is, any person in this room that has common sense knows that the city of Danbury is moving forward with education, providing the best possible service to the students and the teachers all the way through. We've been fully funded education at $150 million, and that's on your heads, the local taxpayers, because the state doesn't come forward with the money that we need. And we're going to work closely with the state representatives and our state senator to make sure we get the money we need to provide quality education.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a breather here. So, we are now have reached closing statements from each candidate. The mayor will go first. Mr. Alice will go second. Mr. Mayor, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Harry. So now that we've all calmed down, and we're going to close out this particular debate, I want to thank everybody here tonight. Each and every one of you for coming here tonight to see and hear what we have to say. From our mouths to your ears. Bypassing media. Bypassing false statements. Unfortunately, half of them were true. But for me, as a representative and the city of Danbury, you know, I've been the mayor for 2 years. It was one of the proudest days of my life that I was elected to the city that I was born and raised in. And I got to tell you, I'm going to continue to move this city forward. No matter what the lies are, the statements are, or the spin is, I've been moving this city forward for the last 2 years, and I will continue to move this city forward. In education, $250 million, 10 miles of road paved. We have 46 new police officers as we speak tonight, and 10 in the hopper. 10 were just signed on just last week. And that makes it for a safe city and a place to raise your family, bring your family and your community. But for me, it's moving the city forward, and I ask for your vote on November 7th to continue that movement. I need your vote for November 7th to continue moving this city forward, not with false promises, not with hearsay stuff. If you need to know what I've done, the city of Danbury, just go look at the facts. The numbers speak for themselves. We're one of the safest cities in the state of Connecticut. We're one of the most popular cities out there, in the top 100 in the country to live. So those numbers don't just pop out by accident. That's not all about me. It's all about my administration and those that help me move this city forward. So folks, I ask you tonight, help me keep Danbury, Danbury. God bless you all. Thank you.
Mr. Alves.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Thank you for the chamber for hosting the debate. Thanks my opponent for at least agreeing to one debate this election. Just because you yell things doesn't make them true.
At least I won, thank God.
Assaults are up in Danbury under your administration, up astronomically, and they are up pre-COVID. So if you want to say they're up because of COVID, we're up over 100% pre-COVID. We have, in 2007, We had an effective strength of the police department of 144. Last city council meeting, we had an effective strength of 147. So I applaud you for hiring 46 officers. I would have just done it in my 15 years I've been there if I was you and it took this long.
I haven't been there 15 years.
Well, you've been there in leadership that long, or you haven't. It was 6 years before the chief of staff. You can't take the good without taking the bad.
I got you.
Now, we talked a lot tonight about the challenges facing our city, and that's okay. But we have to be comfortable talking about the challenges. We can't just talk about the positives. Because that's what confident, collaborative leaders do. Danbury's a great community. We're full of hardworking individuals that deserve good schools, safe streets, and an accountable city hall. We can always do better. And it's important to recognize that we can always do better. But the current administration just isn't cutting it. Smoke and mirror budgets and backroom deals are the name of the game. That's why he won't tell the voters why he wasted $20 million paying for the Career Academy. That's why he doesn't want to talk about the $16 million lawsuit that was lost. That's why he doesn't want to talk about the $5 million lawsuit that was lost to a chamber member where they couldn't negotiate out of court. That's what you get when your mayor spends almost 2 decades working in political patronage jobs instead of the private sector. My parents were small business owners. I'm in the private sector. I know a thing or two about fiscal responsibility. I'm ready to open up the books and turn the page and turn things around on day one. Like so many business leaders in this room tonight, I'm sick and tired of people in power pretending to take action and never delivering on their promises. As your mayor, I'll take out all the stops. We're finally going to get downtown moving again. We'll get out there and fix our common roads, support our business community, and get a handle on the increased assaults and crime, put more police officers on the street, not take decades to do it, and do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Over a few seconds. Excuse me. I am well aware that the mayor went over a little bit. I'm giving equal time for everyone, but Mr. Alves, your time is up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
So, thank you to the candidates. I want to thank our timer who had the hardest job in the building. Doug, not me. Doug, we need a bourbon up here. Thank you all. I know all of you in this room will vote. It's especially important that you tell your friends and family to get there. Thank you, and get home safely.
How's it going?
You're on our honeymoon.
Just want to let you know I'm still keeping an eye on it. Always in the background.
I think I like posted a little bit.
They have. It's the first time I saw them. I've been keeping an eye on them for a long time. The first time I saw them in mass like that. But
Probably
some stupid shit.
40 to 1.
Yeah. Don't worry. As long as they're being harmless. When they start some shit, I'll be on.
Wait.
All right. You guys take care.
quick reminder, if you have a name tag, I ask that you drop it off at the front table. So if you have a name tag, please drop it back off in the basket in the front. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations. Talk to you soon. Mike, what are you doing there? I was working and seeing who's going where. I couldn't run. I always tell people I used to watch Fox and CNN.
Al started all this shit. Got everybody fighting with each other. That was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Oh,